Promotions here at the Zildjian Company. Under the Zildjian Company umbrella, we have obviously the Vic Firth brand, the Baltimore Mallets, and of course Zildjian. But today we're talking Vic Firth. We're going to be talking with Ray Luzier in a second. I think I want to do a little housekeeping before we get going. One of the things I want to tell you about was this Thursday, May 7th at 3 p.m. We are going to be doing a brush roundtable masters roundtable. It's going to be really cool. It's got Jojo Mayer, Peter Erskine, Dave Weckel, Steve Smith, Stanton Moore, and Russ Miller, all hosted by Florian Alexandru Zorn. That's going to be really cool, and that's going to be on the Vic Firth YouTube channel. So please be checking that out on Thursday if you can. I also wanted to highlight a new feature we have on vicfirth.com. If you go to the vicfirth.com website and then you go to the education tab, we have a new feature on there called the education calendar. And what we did was a lot of our artists and educators are doing all kinds of live digital online lessons and live interviews and all kinds of educational events. And we felt that in a time like now where you can't go see live music, that it'd be cool to kind of have a place where you can go and see what's going on in all the percussion genres. So from marching, drum set to concert orchestral mallet, and our artists and educators are giving us this information and we're putting it on a home-based kind of calendar. And so hoping you can find some use out of that and, you know, find a lot of things that you're looking for, because this is the time right now to be practicing, right? So with that all being said, I wanted to, I mean, most people probably watching right now know Ray Luzier. You wouldn't be if you didn't. And, but let me give a little recap of little background on Ray for those of you who don't know him. Ray is a great performer and educator. He spent 8 years with David Lee Roth performing. He did 2 years with Army of Anyone. He played with Jakey Lee. He's done tons of sessions in LA. Teach at the Musicians Institute. But for the last 13 years, he's been with the band Korn. He joined in 2007, and I think he became a full member in 2009. So without further ado, let's get him on and talk to Ray Luzier. Ray.
What's up?
How are you?
How you like that? I like this twirl right here. You like that one?
Very good. Can only do that with Vic Firth sticks, you know.
What do you think of that? Only Vic Firth. What do you think of this? What if I did this?
How are you, man? How's the family?
Up there, great, man. Check this out. The fan made me this.
So great.
Yeah. Everyone's good, man. You know, it's super weird times, as everybody knows. I hope everyone's safe and healthy out there. It's a crazy, wacky time. The world. I mean, this wasn't a terrorist thing. This wasn't an individual city or town. This is the globe. So it's really weird, man. I mean, I have friends. I've been touring for whatever, almost 30 years now. You get to know quite a few people around this planet, and my heart bleeds for everybody. I deepest condolences to everyone who lost somebody that they love out there. Yeah. Our family, we're just full blown like homeschooling, and that's a whole new ball game. I give it up for everyone that used to homeschool normally, because man, my wife is amazing at it. I try my best. Music class is great. Music is wonderful in this house.
Yeah, they're not paid enough. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How's the rest of the band doing with it? Are they all kind of in the same boat?
Everyone's in the same boat, man. We're all just kind of laying low. I think if everybody would have kind of stayed away from everyone, this probably would have wrapped up a lot sooner. Some people didn't take it as serious as others, and we really just laid low. I'd go to the grocery store with gloves and a mask on and try to prevent it. So it's something out of our control. But it's we don't know when our next live show is going to be, and that's the most mind-blowing thing.
Yeah, that's the whole world. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But anyways, that's why we're doing this stuff. We're trying to bring you guys to the people the best way we can,
Absolutely.
Give everybody a voice. Speaking of which, the band, I saw something, I just came through on one of the news feeds where you guys had recorded the Nothing to a private group of people in 2019, and then I think to support the Play On Fest for COVID-19, the Solidarity Relief Fund. You guys did something with that. Can you what exactly was that?
So we did a secret special show in Van Nuys, California. We just got off tour with Alice in Chains. We did a nice summer shed tour. You know, it was an awesome tour. And our record came out September 13th of last year. So to celebrate it, we had a really private, intimate show with just 150 fans. You know, we told them that day. They had no idea what was going on. They said, show up to this wacky location, this industrial building in the middle of the valley in LA. And no one had any idea. And we hired these contortionists, these crazy people that represented The Wire, you know, the album cover, you know, this right here. The Nothing.
Nice.
But yeah, we had these people actually dressed in these things coming out of the ceiling and dancing around and just doing crazy, crazy stuff. So it was really special and fun because we played, it was the first time people heard the brand new songs. You know, there's a whole new energy and just amazing release you have playing those songs for the first time in front of people, hearing them through a PA, you know. And then we played some old classics, you know, of Korn. Korn's catalog is 26 years now. So
unbelievable.
Tons and tons of songs, you know, and you can never please everybody. You know, they want to hear new stuff and they want to hear OG stuff. So
but you guys took that footage and released it recently, right?
It's out. It's on our on the Korn YouTube channel. Yes, you can watch it. It's the first thing that comes up. Yep.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of Korn, I mean, I think a lot of your fans probably know some of these stories. I've heard you say it, but I think it's so cool. I wanted to bring it up again. But so your tenure's been 13 years now, and let's go back to the beginning just to kind of frame it up for a second. I just want to know how, like, I think people want to know, like, how do you get the call in the first place that, hey, we're looking for a drummer? Like, how did that happen for you? I know everybody's story is different, but I always find them fascinating. So
it's because it's weird. It's, you know, in LA, I used to go to these big, giant, long cattle call lines with 200 drummers in it, you know, and you're standing there with a pair of sticks and you're all playing the same 5-piece kit. And it's insanely weird because, okay, all of us know the same 3 songs on the demo. And you're standing there, you're like looking up going, hey, what's up, Rick? Hey, what's up, man? Hey, Glenn, how's it going? Hey, good luck. Yeah. You know everybody because you're always at these auditions. It's so bizarre. And I wouldn't get a lot of these pop kind of rock auditions, you know. So I started doing a ton of sessions. And the more sessions I would do, the more that, you know, some keyboard player at that session go, hey man, I really like your style. I got this other thing I'm doing. Can I get your number? And that's how it would start. I would just start spreading my number out throughout LA. And that's how I would get auditions. You know, I got the David Lee Roth gig because I played 2 songs on this kid's solo record that I never thought anything about. I just played the 2 songs. He called me back and said, hey man, Dave is going to re-sing, or he wants to recut these songs so he can sing over them. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're instrumentals. He's like, yeah, I know. So next thing you know, I'm in the studio with David Lee Roth cutting those 2 songs over again. He didn't even tell me that was the audition. He was just asking me a bunch of questions. What would I ask you if I shuffle this, play a fill here? What would you do here? And I'm like, man, this guy asks a lot of freaking questions. So, Luzier, what if I said play this? Yeah, I won't do much Roth. I promise. I overdo the Roth. But I got the gig the next day, and I didn't even know I was auditioning. So my point is, be on your game all the time. You never know when you're being looked at. Always play like it's your last gig, it's your last session. Give it all you got. Don't half-ass anything because you don't know when that you know what they're looking at. So that led to the Army of Anyone gig with Robert and Dean from Stone Temple Pilots and Richard from Filter. You know, I'm at the NAMM show playing with Billy Sheehan and Toshi Ikeda from the David Lee Roth band. They were playing with Steve Ferroni and Billy Cobham. And so we're all in the, what a lineup, right?
Jeez.
My farm butts up there playing. And so they're watching me. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, man, we like your style. Would you want to audition for us? And they were looking at a bunch of drummers. I got that gig. Well, they were managed by the firm. The firm also managed Korn. So at that time, I was on unfortunately, Army of Anyone was a short-lived band. Those of you that don't know about it, go check that record out. I'm very proud of it. You can get it on iTunes. But as I saw Army of Anyone doing this, I called my manager. I was like, man, I need a gig. What do I do? I'm freaking out. I go, what's up with Korn, man? They got like Joey Jordison from Slipknot filling in on the tour. they got Bozio playing a bunch of the record. They have Brooks Wackerman playing. They had Mike Borden filling in, all this stuff. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, they're looking for a drummer. And he goes, you should go up there and try out. I'm like, I got long blonde hair. I don't have tattoos. He goes, the original drummer had spiky surfer hair. What's your point? I was like, oh, there you go. So, I went up there. I was on a clinic tour, and I was in Sacramento. I flew from Sacramento to Seattle, and played 6 songs in an empty arena. Joey's last, he was going back to Slipknot at the time. Played 6 songs, and I learned about 33. I always give that advice to drummers: learn more than you're supposed to know. Always learn more. Never just learn. Like, do your homework, research, go back. If they have a big catalog, go back and learn everything. When I got the Jakey Lee gig in '94, I learned the entire 2 Ozzy records that he played on, both Badlands records, and even some demo stuff I found.
Jeez.
And I was just a freight train. Like, bring it on, I got it.
Are you doing it all by memory, or you make notes and stuff?
I'm a freak, Joe. Like, I taught at MI for 10 years, and I do know how to read. But I played so many records as a kid. I got a really good memory for that. I'm not amazing, but I'm way better I can memorize music than I can sight reading. I don't encourage that to drummers, because sight reading is very good for a lot of people out
there. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that must have been a little intimidating. I mean, just Terry Bozzio, Mike Borden, and then you're going in there.
Yeah.
I mean, were the guys cool, or were they bust your chops a little bit, or was it?
No, they were scary. They were scary. No, they were totally cool, and they're such great guys. And it just, they walked in late. It was the last show of the tour, so I know myself. When it's the last show of the tour, you're already laying in your own bed at home because you're sick of hotels and sick of people's faces. And so they walked in late. Monkey walked in about an hour late eating a sandwich. Sorry, man, it's the last day of the tour. And Philly kind of strolls in 15 minutes later. Everybody's just doing their thing, and I was pretty nervous because I didn't know. You don't just join a band like Korn. It's a very. That's the 5 original members. There's a reason that strength was there. There's a reason, and it's like any band. The original Alice in Chains, the original Kiss, the original Rush, anything that I was ever a fan of. There's a reason. But what a lot of people don't understand is when a member quits like that and leaves, at their decision, the band's going to carry on. Yeah. Whether it was me or someone else. I got a lot of flack my first couple of years because it was like, they're such an entity, but like I said, if it wasn't me, it was going to be someone else,
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that, because coming in and becoming the new new drummer, in this case, for an original member, they had to be, because I've seen the Korn fans, man, they're serious. Like, no joke. They're heavy duty, no joke. And it's great, but how did it go for you? Like, it's got to be a little weird, right?
I was a hired gun at the first year or so, and I was totally fine with that. I was like, hey, I'm going to do the best I possibly can. I was a huge fan of the Untitled record at the time. It was their brand new record with Bozio on it, most of the tracks. I love his parts, and I was having a blast back there. I just wanted to give Korn the power that I thought it deserved and the energy, and so couple years go by, and then Philly comes up to me one day, the bassist, and goes, hey, man, I want you to start going to meet and greets. And I'm like, me? For why? He goes, guys, just come start showing up, man. Like, you're part of the band. And it just, I kind of eased into doing everything with them. Next thing you know, I'm going to press, I'm doing this. And I felt all of a sudden this like hug of like warmth of like, wow, I could be in this band. But at the first year or so, I was just like, hey, I got to do these guys justice. I got to kick ass every night and bring it. I can't slouch. I got to know my crap. I got to have it together. And then once they gave me that in 09, they swore me in and said, hey, let's do some paperwork and get you in. I'm like, wow, it blew me away, because I never would have thought, even at that time, to be a member. I wanted to be a member, but I didn't think that it was possible, So, man, that just made me step everything up, because I'm like, okay, now.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah, man, it's what a feeling, because I never in a million years thought that I'd be such a part of it. The Korn fans, like you said, there's tattoos of every record on their bodies, and they had a hard time accepting me, and some still don't. And I get it. I'll never be an original member, but I'm not the guy that quit the band. The original guy did, and I didn't. Right. So it's like I said, it's hard to to see somebody new back there. But I've had people come up to me in Oklahoma or wherever and saying, "Hey man, I used to hate you, but now I love you. Look, I got your face on my back." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's my face on your back." So if it took me 7 shows to that guy to accept me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But at the time, I guess Shane Gibson was in the band, correct?
Shane was, yes. God
Yeah.
rest his soul. We love you, Shane.
Yeah. I mean, and you guys had a side project. Can you talk about that a little bit?
We started writing some songs. Shane's one of those virtuoso kind of guitar players that would do all kinds of crazy stuff. And he would always like at soundchecks try to push me to play an odd time and do all these different, So there's a song that we had called 5 Alive, and it was all in 5. And he really pushed me to do, well, if that looks too easy, do something that's harder. So he would challenge me to, and I always loved that about him, And we were kind of starting to write this prog kind of record. A lot of people know me for Korn and David Lee Roth and Army of Anyone, but I do have a proggy side to me that I really love to challenge myself.
That's cool. And you did for us, for Vic Firth, you had done a bunch of videos. We're going to go through a few of them, but this particular one was from that song 5 Alive. And I wanted to show this little clip and maybe have you explain the groove a little bit if we can.
Cool.
So,
yep.
All right, let's check that out. It was rolling, but I didn't hear anything. Did you?
I didn't.
You did?
I did not hear anything, no.
Yeah. Let me see if we can get that fixed. Sorry, everybody. We're trying to deal with some technical issues. As you can imagine, it's hard to pull all this stuff off.
And it's live.
And it's live, of course, But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. So anyway, let me talk about that a little bit.
I guess. Hey, Ray, everybody else did hear it, from what I'm understanding. So, just so everybody knows, Ray's going to play a little bit and try to explain that groove a little bit. But the audio, the mic, it's a long story, but the audio might not be great on the plane. We're going to give it a best shot here.
So here, let me just set this up a little bit. So everything's in 5 successions of 5. So the opening groove and everything, you can count to 5 and it works out. But when I go into the actual groove, I'm actually playing 16th notes and I'm accenting every 5th 16th notes. So 1 E into 2 E into 3 E into 4 E into 1 E into 2 E into 3 E into 4 E into, right? And it falls back in on 1. So I'll play a little bit of this. I might distort. We're just doing this live. I'm having a little bit of technicals, but check this out.
Yeah. Very cool.
Was it distorted at all or not? A little bit?
Now, I mean, it gets that, like once I don't know why it starts out fine, and then it just, kind of feels a little underwater, but I think you get the gist of it. I mean, it's still good. I think it's decent enough for people to kind of get the idea. But if you want to explain, what you explained was great.
Yeah. So the every 5th accent, when you're doing that, I won't play. I'll just do it on the rims. But that one, I'm playing the snare on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. With that every 5th accent. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I keep the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2. And that's a really cool exercise to do. Like put your metronome, start at like 80 on a metronome, and do every fifth accent like that. Then do every seventh one, and then try it in a groove. It's a really cool thing. You know, I love accent exercises. That's one of my main big. Everyone asks me what do we play backstage? What do you do? I go, I do accent exercises every single day on my GAD pad. You like that?
Very nice.
You like that?
Man, there's only a few out there, man. You got one.
Really?
Don't lose that. Don't lose that.
I mean, look at that. It's amazing. I love this is my pad every single night before I go on stage. I do at least 20 to 30 minutes of rudiments on this thing.
Yeah,
so I do everything from flams, you know, doubles, you know, all kinds of marching. Good bounce, good flexibility, you know. So along with my stretching, I definitely do a lot of pad work with that.
Yeah, you know, it's really cool on that pad. You flip it over, the other side feels good too.
It does. It really does. It's a totally different texture.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So, you know, one thing I noticed about your playing is you have, it's almost like well, I think you are ambidextrous, right? I mean, you lead with your right and your left almost equally as strong. Is that, what's the deal with that?
So when I was little, back on the farm in Pennsylvania, Joe, I saw the Beach Boys on like Solid Gold or one of those. I'm showing my age right now, 97. But I saw the Beach Boys dude, and his hi-hat was way out here, and he was doing this thing where he's like, and he's like, and I was like, okay. So I went on my kit and I opened, because I'm right-handed. I played baseball, you know, pitched right-handed and wrote. So I went to my kit and I just started doing this for like years. I did that. I played along with Kiss, Ozzy, Ted Nugent, Rush, Yes, you name it. And I always led with my right hand on fill. When I went to the right, I said, well, I did it with the right. So I got used to this. So that's a lot of people see me with Korn. I'm bashing with that left hand. It's just, to me, the open-handedness is, I love doing that, you know. More technical stuff, if I'm doing a lot of ghost notes, cooking soup, a lot of slicing and dicing, I cross over because I got a lot more control on the ghost notes on my left than I do my right. You know, so that's just something I did years ago, and I never really let it go. You know?
That's amazing. I mean, some of the guys like yourself that do that, it just blows my mind. I can barely play right-handed. But
me too.
You know, speaking of side project, like it seems like all you guys in the band have side band projects. I assume that's to help keep, you know, the creative juices going and just kind of inspiration. So when you get back together, I mean, is that?
I mean, it's always. I mean, Jonathan has had his, you know, he did a really cool DJ stuff. You know, we made a record in 2012 called 19. What am I talking about? Wow, my years. Look at me. I'm jumping all over the place. But you know, back in 2014, we made this record, 14, 13, whatever it is. Anyway, it was full dubstep. I mean, it was, and John brought this to us with these like Skrillex and 12th Planet and all these just amazing, you know, stuff that I was never exposed to. So I love learning new stuff, and I love the fact that Korn's not afraid to go outside the box sometimes. You know, you buy an AC/DC and Iron Maiden, a lot of records like that, which I love. I'm huge fans of, but you pretty much know what it's going to sound like. They have that form. But I believe that Korn can play anything. If we did a country record, it's going to still be Kornized, you know, because there's a certain thing. But I love stepping outside the box for that kind of stuff. So we all done. You know, Monkey had a great band called Fear in the Nervous System, and it's a great record. Fieldy has his Stillwell and a couple other side projects. I even did a solo record with Fieldy. It's called Basically, that we put out a few years back. You know, Head has Love and Death, and which is I love that first Love and Death record. They're working on another one now. So I have a side band called KXM, and it's basically George Lynch, the legendary guitar player from Dokken and Lynch Mob, and
I kind of like Dokken.
Yeah, man, Dokken and Doug Pinnick from King's X, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. I think they're highly underrated. I wish they should have been bigger than the Beatles to me. So, but anyway, we were at my LA house in the Valley in Tarzana, and we're at my son's first birthday party at the time. This is 8 years ago. And everyone left the party, and it's me, Doug, and George in my little studio. and they're picking up all my guitars and everything. And George is like, this will make a good band right here. I'm like, yeah, that'll ever happen. I mean, how? You guys are so busy. You're touring. I got touring, especially at that time. We were 8 months a year touring, So lo and behold, he just kept pushing us, kept saying like, hey man, you have this weekend, I have this weekend, Doug's good. Let's just write a couple songs and see what happens. So the whole thing about KXM is you write the song in the studio. There's no getting together and rehearsing. There's no getting together pre-pro, none of that. Get together in the studio with the cans on. What do you got? What do you got? I got this groove. Okay, I got this. Boom, song. By 6 p.m., we're tracking the song for the record.
So crazy.
The next day, brand new song all over again. So all these records don't take any of my time at all. It's 12 days maximum. We do 13 songs in 12 days. We do 2 videos a day. And so it's under a 2 week for each record period for me.
So crazy. Yeah, George is so prolific too. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, one of the tunes, another tune you did for Vic Firth was a song from that band called Stars, which I love. I think it's such a great tune.
Thanks.
What's the deal behind that one? Before we watch it.
I love it. It's like there's no producers in KXM. There's no one saying like, hey, don't play that fill, don't play this beat, don't play. And there's a beauty about that. You completely have freedom. Not that I don't love the producers we work with, because I love everything about every producer I've ever worked with, from Nick Raskulinecz to Don Gilmore to Bob Ezrin to, I mean, I love them all. Ross Robinson. They all have something unique to offer. But when someone says this is 100% you, you're like, uh-oh, that means you don't want to overplay. You want to play for the song. But at the same time, no one's telling you don't do this crazy, bizarre, inverted beat starting at the floor tom going, So I just was messing around with these kind of Latin rock beats, and it's kind of a bumba beat, and it has this like, and I just started messing around with it on the rim and the hi-hat, and then I went to the floor tom and gave it a backbeat, halftime backbeat on the snare, and it just evolved into what it is.
Well, here, let's watch the clip.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go with the left hand again. I don't know how I have no idea how you're doing that, man. It's crazy. So great.
Yeah, so turn that down a little bit. I'll show you the pattern. So
Yeah, cool.
it's got that kind of that jungly, that beat in the chorus is quite simple, but I'm pulsing the quarter notes on the ride to give it more of a driving thing instead of just a tribal beat. I'm keeping that pulse going. It just sounded more musical to me,
Yeah, so great. And I mean, if people want to see that, if you haven't seen, you should check out the video because it's so great. I mean, such a good tune.
One cool thing about the KXM, we do a lot of really funny videos. If you want to go online and check them out on the YouTube channel, Rat Pack Records released all our videos. We did about 3 per record, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, how stuff's made, and you're just having fun with it,
Yeah, it's so great. Such a good band. Cool. I want to go back a little bit about, because you had talked about it. Like, all right, first of all, I've seen you guys a million times. Every time you come through, I see you, and I'm very blessed to be able to sit side stage and watch you do your thing. And I have no idea how you do that. And what I mean is not only the parts you're playing, but the energy level and the stick twirl and all the shooting up in the air and like how in the world do you, first of all, how do you stay healthy so that you can keep doing that every single night, like the way you do it? I've never seen you have a low night. Like it's always at 11.
Showbiz, acting. I got you fooled. No.
Yeah, but I don't know how you do it.
That's something. That's a funny story about David Lee Roth. They always say like, Luzier, don't just sit back there with that waiting for the bus look on your face. Play for the people. Play for the audience. So it always rang in my head. Don't just sit back there and give it a show. So you don't want to go too nuts. You don't want to be a showboat and try to show up with lead singer, but you definitely want to be interesting. I'm always like, play how you feel. If you feel bored, you're going to look bored back there. To me, that's just my personal opinion. I always ask myself, if I'm in that third row center and I'm looking at stage, what do I want to see right now? What am I feeling? What's the band giving me? What's that vibe? What's the energy coming off the stage? And there's times where we're, flying to Japan and Australia and Germany, and you haven't slept in 2 days, and you don't even know what day of the week it is, let alone time of the day. But you have to bring it every single night. Those people that paid good money don't care. It's either sleep deprived or, you know what I'm saying? So there's just a thing. I try to stay healthy. I mean, I'm a sugar freak. I'm one of those weirdos that never did a drug in my life, ever. Never, not one thing. I never smoked a joint, never smoked a cigarette. I'm weird, I know, for being a rock and roll guy.
Yeah,
but and I'm not preaching, because God knows I have a ton of friends that have and are in rehab and all. I love them all. But I'm just saying myself, I've never done anything like that. I like my red wine. That's about it. But I try on the road, especially when you're not 22 anymore, you gotta start eating healthier. You gotta start drinking water, stay hydrated. You gotta start eating better. I'm a sugar freak, man. Like I love. If you look at our rider, there's like 9 pints of Ben and Jerry's in our freezer every night. There's the Skittles and all the stuff. That's me. You see, we have a juicer on our rider now. There's like, we try to juice, but you kind of have to get in that mind frame, and you have to get rest. Even no matter if it's 4 in the afternoon or 4 a.m., you need to sleep. So I just try to walk around the parameters of the venue. Sometimes I go to the local mall or wherever we're at, and I just try to keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you guys also have your own coffee now. What's that all about?
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that, Joe.
Yeah, let's give a plug for the coffee, man.
Look at this corn coffee. Look at that.
Seriously, how does that come about?
I mean, come on. We're bean freaks. I mean, me, Monkey, and Fieldy are probably the biggest coffee freaks in the band. But for years and years, I just think like the corn's such a brand. When you see the logo, it's just like, bam. You know what I mean? I've always thought there could be so much more out there with the logo on it. I mean, come on, Kiss has caskets and underwear and shoelaces. Why can't we have, So we met with our partner, buddy of ours, Jeremy Gersey. He used to be Tom Cruise's personal barista for over a decade. And I mean, I don't know how you get that gig, but he must be dang good, And he had started his own coffee company, Jay Gersey Coffee. We partnered up with him because we don't know enough about all the details that go into making a great coffee, And he really, really helped us out. We had our idea. Man, I can smell this right now. Oh, I'm getting chills just because.
Yeah.
Oh, wish that thing had scent. But I'm serious. I'm not just saying it. It's really good. But so anyway, we partnered up with him, did a ton of tastings, flew to Vegas a bunch of times and met up. And lo and behold, we started with our dark roast, and it's really, really well balanced. It's not bitter tasting. It's so amazing in a French press and a pour over. That's my favorite way of drinking it. We just released Wired Blend. This is hence the Nothing record. That's the jam right there. Every morning you got to have this. It's a good buzz. It's not like it's a good, like, I got my stuff together. I'm focused. Let's go conquer the world kind of buzz, But you can get this on cornwebstore.com, cornwebstore.com, and it's available. Check it out, and very proud of the way it came out.
Awesome.
Yep.
Hey, speaking, we talked a little bit about how the difficulties of joining an iconic band, but I mean, you have to, every night you're playing tunes that you didn't actually record or write the parts for from the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
How do you, I mean, obviously you were already a fan of Korn, so it makes it cool that way. But how do you pay homage to that, but still make it your own night after night? Like,
Hey, that's a great question, and I this isn't my first time I did this. I mean, think about it. With David Lee Roth, 80% of the set list when I got the gig was Van Halen. So I mean, I'm playing Alex Van Halen's parts every night, and there, trust me, there's people. Dance the Night Away comes in. Boom, if you don't play that fill, you're getting eggs thrown at you. I mean, it's iconic, you know. In jumps, you have to play that stuff. So of course, you know, I would do that and add my own kind of flavor in there. Army of Anyone, the same thing. We did some Stone Temple Pilot covers and some Filter covers. Same kind of thing. There's some familiarity there. You have to have it. With Korn, there's a diehard fan base, like we were talking about before. That was really strange to me because I'm like, man, I don't know, you know, hold it back more, push it more, do my. The cool thing about it was when I got the gig, you know, Jonathan, the first thing he said to me is, just do your thing, man. Feel it. We want your vibe. We hired you because of you, your style, your technique, your power, your energy. Just feel the music and feel what, bring what you got to it. Pay homage to what's on the original recordings, but lift it how you want to lift it. Do all what you want to do. And it took me several years, but once I evolved, it just really just kicked in hardcore a lot, you know, to my own thing. And I love playing the old songs, man. I mean, come on. I mean, Freak on a Leash, for example, like that song was there. I mean, TRL Live, for those of you that remember what MTV was back when it was music television, and not reruns of whatever they play now.
Some reality TV show.
Man, back when it was TRL, Korn was the first band to actually get retired from Freak on a Leash. And it's all fan base, as everybody knows. So the fans have to vote. Well, they voted for Freak on a Leash so many weeks in a row. MTV finally said, look, man, we got to give someone else a chance. So I think that's amazing. And I remember back when the videos related so much to the songs that came out. That song, so that's one of my favorites to play every night. Of course, The Power of Blind and all those older tracks and all those deeper cuts. I love playing Coming Undone. I love Here to Stay. It's one of the heaviest riffs ever written. I get off on it.
Yeah, well, we filmed. I remember you coming through, and we did film the show, and you guys were so nice enough to let us actually release some of your performances. And so, I want to show a little clip of Freak,
cool.
And then maybe you could talk about that beat that we show.
Cool.
Everybody get the fuck out!
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's the perspective I get to watch, which is so crazy to me. But that beat, like I get it. Like, you know, unfortunately, when we're playing, you can't really get into it because it just crushes the mic. But
yeah,
break that beat down a little bit if you can.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Korn, what I love is there's elements of funk in there, and there's elements of reggae, and there's elements of. It's not a metal band. It's not a new metal band. It's Korn. It's just that's what it is to me. Everyone always says like you're in that new metal band. I'm like I don't even know what that is. Like I think someone just said when Biscuit and all those bands came out, Deftones and they all got this category. I don't see it as that, and I understand it has to be something, but to me, when STP and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam, all these bands come out in the 90s, Korn just kind of said, nope, here's what we sound like. And they carved through all of that and come up with this beautiful, heavy sound of just craziness and funky beats and 808s and all this stuff. So Freak on a Leash is a perfect example of that. You know, treble beat in the chorus, very funky groove in the verse, you know. So basically that groove, I'll play it kind of soft, but it's got this swing. So if you're playing
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah, that was no. Actually, that came up pretty decent. That was great.
Okay, so you see the tribal beats, very powerful. The boom, do, dash, do, do, dash, do, do, do. That's that hypnotic, tribally kind of thing that I really love. You know, there's just that. There's a lot of that in Korn songs. You know, it's cool to see in 26 years how much it's progressed and how much it's changed, matured, and evolved. But it always sounds like Korn when you go back to it. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of the Nothing. That's our latest record that came out last September. And just there's so many grooves on there and so many. We just have a really fun time playing these songs. You know, they're just the grooves are so, you know, everyone's bouncing their head. The riffs are super heavy. John has never sounded this good, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah. Well, man, the new record. Holy mackerel! I mean, that debuted. Where'd you guys debut in that?
I think it was what's above number one? No.
I mean, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's such a great record too.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your stick. We can't do this and not talk about the Ray Luzier signature stick by Vic Firth here.
Yes.
So give us a little briefing on this.
You know, I'm a picky guy. You know, can you still see my face if I do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a picky guy. You know, I have to. Let's face it. This is an extension of us, right? As drummers. I mean, the stick is an extension of our arm. If we stop right here, everything's coming from here. So this, whatever we hold on to, no matter what we're playing gear wise, everything comes from this. That's it. Everything. So that's why it took us quite some time. Not because I wasn't happy with it. It's just because I wanted to really feel as natural as possible holding the stick. And so we rounded the butts on there. We put acorn tips up top. We put a little bit more meat than a normal 5B usually has up here. It's kind of the taper of a 5B, but there's more meat up top. Now lengthwise, Joe, you can help me out with that. Do you know the stats on the length? I forgot.
I think we're at 16.
16.
It's hard to remember. It's either 16 or just a touch, maybe a touch more, but it's around 16.
It's been a while since I've looked at the stats, but because basically it's really weird. When I'm gripping a stick, I don't choke up on the bat too much. A lot of guys do. They come up here. I start back here, my pinky finger's right at the back, and by I'd say 8-12 bars into the song, that sucker's in the palm of my hand like that, literally. I mean, I'm literally back there. So that's why the butt has to be rounded like that. So I try to use the molar technique, use really good technique, starting from the shoulder, doing the whip crack. You never want to hold your stick too tight. That's a really bad thing to do. You have a lot of problems, carpal tunnel, stuff like that. I look like I'm annihilating everything when you see me with Korn, but I'm barely holding the stick, man. I'm barely gripping it. It's floating in my hands. And I learned years ago from Joe Picaro, Ralph Humphrey, all my teachers in MI, how to have a decent stick technique, and that whipping motion and to loosen my grip. When I moved from Pennsylvania to LA, I would hold on for dear life. Like I had to kill everything inside. And I was breaking a lot of sticks. My hands were hurting. They were swelling. So I'm not just saying this because it's my stick. If you're a rock guy, this is definitely, I even have a couple of my jazz friends using this, which I'm flattered, they love the weight balance of it, so, so you spangalangers out there, give it a try too.
Yeah. And if anybody is interested, you can actually order that. Obviously you can order from any music store online. You can even go to vicfirth.com. I think in the description, we'll have a link below here that you can actually go to Ray's page and order it right there direct. So,
Cool.
Hey Ray, so marching.
Yeah.
I know you have a little bit of a marching background, but give us a little bit of that background. Like how has that come to help shape who you are as a player? Like what did you do first in marching? Like how did you evolve into that world?
Yeah, I mean, I was never like a Blue Devils specialist, or I was never in the big boy stuff, but I started very young, at a very young age, marching in local, my own hometown bands and stuff like that. And I kind of didn't take it really serious until I got to high school. And then we had a guy that just got out of the military. It was from some German military, and he was super strict. You guys will get here an hour before the band, you'll leave an hour after. And you're like, what? No, we're not. I'm going to go home and play Pac-Man, But he had this thing about him, like, I hated him because he made us work so hard. We were using these DC-10 Louisville Sluggers, playing rudiments and double stroke rolls before the band would even show up. And then afterwards, we'd do these double stroke things until you're literally dropping on the ground. I mean, but my point is, I would go home, whatever stick I used at that time, a 5B or whatever I used, I would fly around my kit. And I was realizing that, wow, doing this strict regimented exercises, it's making my playing a lot more clean. I'm executing my fills better, and it's just bringing everything together. So at a very young age in my teens, I realized that like marching is really helping that out. So I kind of stuck with that through the years. I still do a ton of marching exercises, and I go through, I try to read syncopated rudiment books because I love all that stuff. I love press rolls, and it's just, there's a certain thing about it that it's, you want me to play a couple?
Yeah.
We have time?
Yeah. We got plenty of time.
Don't cut me off, Joe.
I still want you to hit a Korn song that you played that you love playing every night. I know which one it is, but. Yeah, it's great.
50-cent tour of my marching rudiments.
Yeah, no, but it's cool. I mean, it's an important part of it, Okay, one more demo tune. I want to talk about a song that you played on the Korn record and that you like playing every night.
Yep.
Give me one of those.
There's a couple of them off our new record, The Nothing. There's a new song, was our first single called "You'll Never Find Me." It's got a full-blown marching part in the actual verse of it. The song "Rotting in Vain," our first single off of "Serenity of Suffering," our last record, has a lot of really quick snare rolls, like real quick, jolts, 16, 30-second kind of things. Not necessarily a marching groove, but there's incorporation of all these rudiments in there. There's a lot of flams, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. So, like I said, all those travel-y kind of beats, they all have some kind of regimented marching kind of syncopation to them.
Well, let's watch a clip of "Rotting in Vain."
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was from the same concert, I think.
You rat?
It's another video that we have on vicfirth.com. It's cool.
Nice.
You want to break that one down a little bit?
Yeah. So I mean, basically, the clip you just saw with the fast, the bridge section's super heavy in there. But you hear the quick kind of snare things I'm playing. I'll do a couple examples of that.
Awesome. Very cool.
So a lot of quick, like, there's these really abrupt kind of like drags, really quick like that. When you're playing loud, you see me with Korn, I'm playing very hard and powerful. You have to pronounce that stuff with a lot of exertion. I sit really high when I play. A lot of people are like, I need to sit so high. To me, I have to be kind of on my drums. I can't be swallowed up. A lot of guys like to sit low, and that's cool. I was always into like my posture being kind of sitting straight up and just being on the drums. And with a band as powerful as Korn and as heavy, there's not a lot of love ballads in our band. You have to, it's got to be, the execution's got to be there. So for me, I just find out, especially in arenas, when you younger drummers out there, you'll start seeing when you start playing sheds, arenas, and even stadiums, that stuff flying through a PA system, a lot of that stuff gets buried. if you're not executing it properly, it gets hidden back there, so it's really important to get all that out.
Cool. All right, I got a couple fan questions here, and
Yeah.
we're almost at the hour mark. So I'm gonna just fire
Man.
up a couple here, and then we'll tell everybody about the contest we're gonna do here.
Cool.
So does Corn plan? Does Corn have any plans for any gigs or online gigs for the year?
Well, the online gigs, obviously the one we just were talking about, you can go to the Corn YouTube channel, check out our record release party. It's a really special show. There's behind the scenes interview. The great Sebastian Piquet edited that whole thing for us and filmed it. And it's really just raw and cool. And, we're doing interviews in our homes and stuff like that. That's definitely out right now. We're trying to see what's going to happen for the future right now on all the online stuff. We're trying to see when the next actual live show is going to be and trying to make a game plan now. So nothing yet, but definitely being talked about.
Yeah, I think everybody's in the same boat, man. And no one's ever dealt with this before. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
kind of in the dark feeling around.
Absolutely.
How did you come up with playing the China in the middle of the kit?
Good question. So many years ago, I get that all the time. They're like, what do you have to think? And all the singers hate it, from David Lee Roth to Richard, but they're like, Dave Roth would come up to me, get rid of that stupid symbol in the middle. I want to see you, not come here. So back in the day, and this is a true story, I was a big, Motley Crue fan, Kiss, you name it, Van Halen. See, I imitate Dave, my throat goes. So I saw Tommy Lee at Pittsburgh Civic Arena, Theater of Pain tour, 2 giant red Chinas, right?
Yep, I remember that.
On either side of them. And I'm like, I went home and went, I need to paint buildings and save up to buy 2 red Chinas. And I did. And saved them up. And I remember getting, we live on a 118-acre farm in the middle of nowhere. Put these Chinas up. Well, lo and behold, I'm bashing the hell out of them. I cracked one. And literally tears are coming out of my eyes because I'm, paying good money for these things. I play left and right handed. What do? I know, just for the meantime, I'll put it in the center so I can hit it with my right and left hand. Well, that was 85, and I've never changed since. So I've always had that thing there. It's a part of me. Like, I've filled in for bands, I've filled in for Stone Temple Pilots, and I didn't use that China. And it's funny because I kind of went for it a couple times, and I was like, oh, I'll go over here.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone here wants to know if you ever met Steve Gadd.
I met Gadd, yeah. And the funny thing is, I met Gadd, and he was on, I forget what band he was touring with. It might have been Paul Simon. It was only a couple years ago, because I've seen him at many of his Yamaha Day events and West LA Music and all those, but I never wanted to bother him. He was always getting hounded by fans, and I'm never that guy to like, hey man,
Yeah.
But the funniest way I ever met Gadd, he's walking, I see this guy, I see his head bobbing, and he's got these shorts on, and I'm like walking down the streets like freaking, I don't know where, like Texarkana or somewhere just bizarre. And I go, man, it looks like Gadd. And my drum tech was with me, and he goes, dude, that is Gadd. I'm like, no, it's not. Look where we're at. And I walk over and I go, Steve? And he goes, yeah, what's up, man? I go, hey, man, I'm a big fan. I go, this is really bizarre. I go, can I get a picture? He goes, sure. So, like, yeah, that was my Steve Gadd story.
That's
told
funny.
Told him how much I appreciated his work and how much he did for my playing. And,
That's funny. That happened to me with him once too in New York City. Just walking down the street, and he's just walking the other way. I was like, Steve. And he's like, hey man, what's up? It's like so weird.
Such a good dude.
All right, last question for you from the fans here. How long do you usually practice a day?
I don't. No. I try to. I mean, I got a bunch of kids in here. I mean, I try to come up here. I got a 5 and a 9-year-old. I got an amazing family. I try to spend as much time as I can with them. But I do try to get up here at least a half hour, an hour a day, just to keep everything moving. I try to learn something new. One thing that always stuck with me at MI is they always say, practice something you don't know. You can always have fun and do the licks you already know. So I try to make myself play a bossa nova and swing and stuff that I'm not good at all, or like some new 4-way independence that challenges me. And it sucks because it humbles you. You're like, God, I suck. But do it, because it really makes you, it makes you that just much more well-rounded. I got this is the kit you're looking at here. If you look at this one, if I swing it around.
Yeah, show us your drum room, man, because that's in your house, right?
Yeah, that's in my house. So I have 3 full kits set up. This one has a 26-inch kick, a 22, and a 24 that I all play with my right foot. and then the left button. So it's just a color kit. I got, wacky sizes and different, types of like a chimes. I got all kinds of sizzle china with rivets in it. Just it's a color kit. So I keep mics on this at all times because I use this for my main session kit. This one back here, there's not a lot of light on it, but back in the back is a Bonamy wide open kind of sounding kit. So I use that one for like Bonamy wide open type beats, This one I just used on somebody's record. I can't mention right now, but I can't wait to because these a big legend.
Oh, come on, man, give us the exclusive.
I can't. I was sworn to secrecy. But this kit sounded amazing on that record. I'll tell you guys announce it on your big site. But yeah, I just I try to practice as much as I can. Real quickly before we go, everyone,
give me
please
some plugs.
check out the Nothing, please. Jonathan Davis's solo record, The Black Labyrinth. I love this record. I played on it. It's just come out. It's an amazing piece of work. I just love it. Check it out. Serenity of Suffering, picture disc. Check that out, yo.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool, right? Serenity of Suffering, one of my favorite records. Paradigm Shift. These are all vinyl. I buy them all on vinyl. I'm a vinyl freak.
Yeah, I'm into that now too.
And there's a new KXM Circle Dells.
Awesome.
And Joe, check it out. For everyone watching today, I know we're gonna do this. I don't want to blow it, but you're gonna do a giveaway, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in 1 second. If you want to
Okay.
go ahead and pitch this, give a plug here. Come on.
No, you do your. Well, I'm gonna do your thing, and I'm gonna do this. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So taking a spin for everybody, a spin off the marching thing. There's another KXM tune called Gunfight. And what Ray did, which was very cool, was he broke down the tune. And you'll see in the description below this video a link where you can download the MP3s of the song minus drums, and the song of just the drums. So you can hear exactly what he played. And then what we're asking you to do is Ray is going to pick 6 of his favorites, and then we're going to put all those 6 favorites into one kind of drum chain of that song and release it through the Vic Firth socials. Now, in order to do that, and if you get picked, if you're one of the 6, you're going to get a signed signature stick. He's going to personally sign some of his signature sticks, so you'll get a pair of those, each one of those 6 people. Now, in order to do that, you have to obviously play the drums, the minus drums version, and play it down and post it up on YouTube. But what's really important is in the title, you have to do #VF Play for Ray. So #VF Play for Ray. That way we can pick it up, and then we can show Ray all the ones we get, and he'll pick his favorite 6, and those 6 people will get a pair of signed sticks.
Very cool.
So.
And so yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, like Joe said, we're releasing that track. The left side has click on it, and the right is all music. It's in mono because that's the easiest way to put it out there for you guys. We can't multi-track it. Not all you guys have big studios and stuff. So the easiest way to do it, there's going to be a version available with the click track and without. So play along with the click, because it's the exact same version that I played to when I recorded that track. And I'm also, thanks to the great Chris Collier out there, thank you, brother. He also gave me the isolated drum tracks. So you can hear every single note that I did by themselves, and then you're going to hear just Doug and George's performance on there. You're going to play drums for that. So I can't wait to see you guys challenge yourself, and I'm also going to sign a vinyl copy of the Nothing too. And I don't know how we'll do this, Joe. We'll figure out, I don't know if it's the so-called best or whatever, but I want to give somebody that. I'm going to sign it.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get
let's-
that. That's awesome. If I don't steal it, but
I know it's for them.
No, that's great. And also down below in the link, you'll find a link of Ray demoing the different parts. So, and it sounds a lot better than what you had today because the mic was working last time we did it. So
Yeah.
that breakdown's there too. So you can get a little help there. Plus you get all the tracks. It's great. So
Cool.
we're looking forward to it. All right, Ray. Anything else you want to plug? Anything you want to say before you sign off?
I just appreciate everyone hanging out and being here and be good to one another and practice hard and be professional and do all that stuff. It's a wacky world out there. So if you're an up and coming drummer, stick with it. You have to put a lot of time in there, practice a lot, and definitely buy Vic Firth sticks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely do that. But
Yeah.
man, we really appreciate you doing this for us and for everybody. And it means a lot that you're you're in the family, and just
Great to
couldn't
be
be
here.
prouder to have you, man. Seriously.
Thank you, brother.
Stay
All right,
healthy.
everyone be good. Thank you, man.
All right.
See you guys soon. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. All right, everybody. Thank you